Welcome to This Explainer. If you're doing business in the UAE right now, you already know the landscape moves incredibly fast. You're out there closing deals, you're managing clients, you're pushing hard for growth. But then you inevitably hit that administrative wall, invoicing. Specifically, trying to create fast, fully compliant invoices without getting entirely bogged down by expensive, overly complicated accounting software. So today, we're going to break down exactly how to navigate UAE tax regulations using Founders Need, which is a tool designed specifically to eliminate this exact friction for founders.
So let's start with a really crucial question. Are your current invoices actually compliant? Think about it for a second. If the Federal Tax Authority, the FTA, requested an audit tomorrow morning, would your documents actually hold up? A surprising number of freelancers and SME owners rely on, hastily thrown together Word documents or generic online templates. They basically just cross their fingers and hope it's enough. But getting this wrong can lead to some serious unnecessary headaches. We're talking rejected payments from corporate clients or even hefty compliance fines. It is simply not worth the risk, especially when the right structure is so easy to implement.
All right, Section 1, UAE Invoicing Made Easy.
Let's look at how we can strip away all that complexity and focus on a streamlined, no software needed approach that's actually tailored for the UAE market. The beauty of the Founders Need platform is that you get instant business documents with absolutely no accounting software needed. You really don't need a degree in finance just to get paid. The whole interface works on a live update premise, so as you type your details on one side, the invoice visually generates in real time right alongside it. And once you're done, you have total flexibility. You can print it, save it as a perfectly formatted PDF, email it, or even just shoot it over to your client via WhatsApp. It's genuinely designed to match the speed at which modern founders actually work.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 2, Anatomy of a Compliant Invoice.
We're going to look under the hood and identify the exact building blocks the FTA requires. To be fully compliant, your document must systematically cover 4 critical areas. First up, crystal clear company and client info. Second, specific invoice details, things like your unique invoice number, the issue date, and the due date. Third, your line items with the VAT explicitly calculated. And finally, your payment details, so the client actually knows where to send the funds. If you miss or obscure any of these 4 pillars, well, you are no longer issuing a valid tax invoice. It really is that simple.
Let's zoom in on a term that causes a lot of confusion out there, the TRN, or Tax Registration Number. This is a unique 15-digit identifier issued by the government. Now, if your company is VAT registered, displaying your own TRN on the invoice is absolutely mandatory. But here is a brilliant little insider tip. The Founders Need generator handles the other side of the transaction by marking the client's TRN as entirely optional. This is huge because it keeps your workflow moving even if you're just billing an individual or a non-registered startup, all while ensuring your own mandatory compliance is securely locked in.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what the FTA is looking for in your line items. Imagine a breakdown where you have 10 consulting services at a rate of 250 dirhams each. Notice how the math has to be presented. It clearly shows the net amount of 2,500 dirhams. And then it completely isolates that 5% VAT, which is 125 dirhams, right before showing the final total amount of 2,625. You literally cannot just lump it all into one total price. The tax authority demands this level of transparency to show exactly how much taxable value is exchanged and exactly how much tax was applied.
Moving right along to Section 3, Demystifying UAE VAT Rates.
Getting the layout right is only half the battle, but applying the correct VAT treatment is where founders really start second-guessing themselves. When calculating that 5% rate, we run into a very common real-world problem: inclusive versus exclusive pricing. Founders Need handles this so elegantly by giving you 2 simple toggles. You can just select prices exclude that, meaning you type in your base rate and the system automatically calculates and adds the 5% right on top. Or, if you negotiated a flat fee with your client, you select prices include VAT, and the system actually works backwards to extract the tax from the total. It completely removes the manual mental math and, more importantly, the risk of calculation errors.
But you also need to know what kind of tax applies to your specific service, and it's not actually always 5%. Here's a quick cheat sheet for you. The standard 5% applies to most day-to-day transactions within the UAE. Then you have 0 rated at 0%. This is highly specific and usually applies to things like exports out of the GCC or international transport. Finally, there is exempt, which means the transaction is entirely outside the scope of VAT. Selecting the right category from a simple drop-down menu means your final paperwork perfectly reflects the legal reality of your sale.
And finally, Section 4, the complete Founder Toolkit.
Issuing an invoice is the final step of a sale, right? But it's really only one piece of the puzzle when you're running a lean operation in the Emirates. Now, what's genuinely interesting here is this massive number, 100. Founders need understands the reality of bootstrapping a business from the ground up, so they offer SMEs and freelancers 100 free documents every single month. That is a total game changer. It means you can manage your daily operational paperwork, stay entirely compliant with local regulations, and project a highly professional image, all without adding yet another expensive software subscription to your monthly burn rate.
And the best part is those 100 documents aren't just limited to standard tax invoices. The platform provides a full suite of generators that are mapped to the actual life cycle of a business deal. You've got a quotation maker to send professional pitches in AED. You have a pro forma invoice maker, which is absolutely vital for securing advance payments or opening letters of credit. When you need to buy goods, there is a purchase order maker for your UAE suppliers. They even include a standalone VAT calculator and a company profile maker for when you're applying for tenders or opening a corporate bank account. It is an incredibly comprehensive toolkit. And look, if you scale up and need more than the free tier allows, upgrading to Pro is super accessible at just 79 dirhams a month.
Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway of this explainer. The usual barriers to perfectly formatted, FTA-compliant paperwork, they have been completely removed. You literally have the free, intuitive tools at your fingertips right now. So the real question isn't whether you can handle the admin, it's whether your business is ready to scale today. Are you going to let the fear of paperwork slow you down, or are you going to utilize these resources to close faster, look more professional, and drive your revenue forward? The tools are waiting for you. The rest? Well, that's up to you.